So you've got your hands on the new iPhone 15 or 15 Pro, and you've already unboxed it, transferred all your data. But what's next? Well, don't worry guys. Today I'm going to show you 12 different tips and tricks and settings and features of the new iPhone 15 and 15 Pro, which you need to implement right now to get the best performance from your smartphone. Welcome back to my channel, and without any further delay, let's dive in. Let's talk about Dynamic Island. Now Dynamic Island is available on all iPhone 15 models, and I'll show you how to get the most out of it. So let's say you're playing some music. Let me just play some music here. And if you swipe up, it goes to the Dynamic Island. Now, if you tap and hold over here, it shows you a preview of what's playing, and you can skip the song, pause, etc. And if you tap anywhere, it minimizes again. If you don't want this to show over here, you can just swipe left or right. It totally depends on you. And you can even bring it back by swiping the other way. So this is a really handy feature. And if you tap on it, it'll open up the app like you just see over here. So you can swipe it out, swipe it back in. And you can also have multiple notifications in the dynamic settings. So if you go into clock and let's say you start a timer, and if you swipe up, you can see both of them are there. If you tap and hold on any, it'll give you a preview of that particular app. And if you just want one of them to show up, you can just swipe it and just your music will show. And if you swipe again, it'll remove everything. You can bring it back by swiping the other way. Dynamic Island is also very helpful when you place orders online. So if you order food from Zomato or Swiggy, it'll show the timer over here, and it'll have a ring where it shows how many minutes for your orders to arrive. So that's pretty cool as well. Now, another interesting feature over here is to check the cycle count and to check if your iPhone is actually new. I know this sounds strange that why won't your iPhone be new, but there are cases where people sell you refurbished and all. This is definitely down the line, not right now. So what you do is you go into settings, you come to general, about, and scroll right down. As you can see, my cycle count here is 8. Make sure that the number is low if you've already been using the phone. And this is a good way of knowing that you got a brand new phone and not a used or refurbished one. You can even go to battery settings and you can check the battery health. Also make sure that it is a maximum capacity of 100% like it shows over here. So this is a good way of knowing whether you've been duped or not in your iPhone purchase. The next setting that you must change is of course customizing your lock screen and home screen. To do that, you must be on the lock screen. Just make sure that the phone is unlocked, and once it's unlocked, tap and hold, and you'll be able to see a new setting over here which says customize. So let's create a new one. You can select photos, people, you can shuffle your photos, live photos. The options are limitless here. So let me set one and show you. So if we go into albums, and let me just quickly select a photo here. So you can see the photo has come up over here. You can pinch to zoom and set it the way you like. It also fades out the top of the photo when you zoom out, and you can even swipe to select different backgrounds. You can change the color from here to whatever you like, and this really pops that photo and it gives a different look altogether. So this is the way that you can customize your lock screen and home screen. This will make your iPhone stand out from others, and you can even add widgets over here, like you can select a weather widget, watch, or AQI, whatever you want, and you can set all of that. You can even change the font of the time. You can make it slim or thick depending on your choice and preference. You can change the font as well. So the options are really great. Once you click on add, it'll add it over here, and then you can just select it. The next feature is auto portrait. So auto portrait is a very cool feature in my opinion. And when you click a photo of a person or your pet, etc., it saves the depth effect in that, even when you click a normal photo. And later on, you can choose to change this effect. So let me show you here. If we go into live, there's an option over here, portrait on or off. So if you click on off, this is what it looks like. The background gets cleared and your photo doesn't really pop. So if you choose portrait, and there you go, the background has been blurred and the photo definitely pops much more. So this is a very cool feature. And how do you enable this? You go into settings, go to camera, scroll down, and you'll see over here portrait in photo mode. So this is a really cool feature. And also to ensure that this setting is saved, you need to go into preserve settings. And here you have several options that you can choose from, and you can enable all the ones that you like. The next feature that we're going to talk about applies to only the Pro models, and it's to do with the action button. Now, iPhone 15 Pro has a new addition over here. It's got the action button instead of the normal mute switcher. It's a very powerful button and it's very versatile. So let me show what I mean. Go into settings, come down to action button. Now by default, it is set to the silent mode. So you can tap it and it silences your phone, and tap it again, sets it back to ring. You can also set it to different focus modes, camera, flashlight, voice memo, magnifier, shortcuts, accessibility, and of course, no action. Now, if you set it to, like, let's say camera, you can even preset it to which mode of the camera you prefer. Like supposing you want your camera to always open up in video mode, you can do that. So you select video, and as soon as you tap and hold the action button, it'll open up the camera app and it'll be in video mode. So that's really handy for quick photos. You can even set the action button to open up shortcuts, which makes the button even more powerful. I'll be making a separate video on this, and I'll show how you can create your shortcuts and map it to the action button. The next feature that we're going to talk about is contact posters. A lot of you might already know about this feature, but I still see that many of you have not set up your contact posters and you're missing out on a great feature. So let me show how to set this up. Go into the phone app and click on edit and click on your name. Now this is where you set up and customize your contact poster, and let me show how to do that. Click on edit. Let me create a new one. This is where you can select a photo, memoji, or a monogram, just your initials. But let me show you with a photo. You can go in for the suggested options. It displays photos of you over here, but let me just select one random photo. Okay. Now if you see that it really pops your photo and it puts your name over there, you can even pinch to zoom, and when you pinch out, it fades the top. This is all done by Apple AI, and I would like to set it up in a nice way where it can even take up the whole screen. You can even customize your name by choosing a different font. You can even change the thickness of the font, make it thinner, whatever your choice. You can change the color of the font, etc. And you can even swipe left or right to see different effects. And you can even change the colors from here. You can make it orange, yellow, green, whatever is your preference. And it really pops your photo. This is exactly what other iPhone users will see. All of them who have updated to iOS 17 and above, they will be able to see this photo of you when you call them, and it really makes your contact stand out. So I definitely recommend you to set this up and take your contact customization to a next level. The other thing that I would also like to mention is that whatever name you set over here, it will get changed on everyone's iPhone. So if I change it to Varun and I remove my surname, it'll rename the contact on everyone's iPhone. So just make sure that you don't set up any random name, otherwise people won't be able to find your contact on their phone. Also, whatever changes you make, it will not instantly reflect on everyone's iPhone. It takes some time. I did this test on 5G and on Wi-Fi, and on both the situations I found that it takes some time to get updated. Coming to the next setting is, of course, ringtones. iOS 17 has added a lot of new ringtones and text tones. So you can change that by going into settings, sound and haptics, and ringtones. So when you click on your primary number or secondary number, if you have an eSIM, so you'll be able to see that there are a lot of new ringtones over here. You can definitely click on them and check it out. The ringtones this time around are pretty good, and I recommend you to check them out, and maybe you could set these as one of your ringtones. Text tones are also there. If you click on text tones, you'll be able to see a lot of new text tones over here. So check them out, guys. I'm sure that you'll like these new ones. The next setting that we'll talk about is the camera. iPhone 15 lineup this year has an improved camera system. It's much better than the previous year, and I'll show you a few settings that you need to change right now. So go into settings, come down to camera, go into format, and over here you make sure that your photo mode has been set to 24 megapixels instead of 12 megapixels. It should be on 24 MP by default, but in case if it's not, please change that. Also make sure that your Pro RAW and resolution control has been enabled. What this does is that it takes photos up to 48 megapixels because the camera sensor is there. So why shouldn't it take a 48 megapixel shot? So make sure that this is enabled, and if you have the most compatible feature on, it'll change it to JPEG Max, which is up to 48 megapixels. So this will give you much higher quality images, so make sure that these settings are enabled. The next setting that we're going to talk about is battery charging. So in iPhone 15, they've introduced a new feature. Let me just show that to you. Go into settings, come down to battery, go to battery health and charging, and over here charging optimization, when you click on that, you'll see a new option, 80% limit. If you're not a very heavy user and your iPhone's battery at the end of the day is roughly around 40 to 50% remaining, I urge you to enable this feature because this will prolong your battery life and it will give you good battery health in the years to come. But of course, if you're a heavy user and your battery drains down to 10 or 20% by the end of the day, then do not enable this because it will defeat the purpose. For a majority of you, I suggest leaving it to optimize battery charging. The other point that I would like to quickly mention is that if you want the best battery life on your iPhone, make sure that it does not fall below 30%. I know this is tough because you can't really charge your phone every single time when it falls below 30%. But overall, if you don't let it fall below 30% and you charge your phone when it's above 30% to maybe back up to 100, it'll give you a better battery life and the health of your battery will also remain at a higher percentage for a longer duration of time. The next setting that I would like to talk about is display settings. Let me show that to you real quick. Come into settings, scroll down to display and brightness. Now over here, you'll see auto lock. By default, it is set to 30 seconds and it is extremely annoying because every 30 seconds your phone will dim and you have to either tap on it or wake it to get the brightness level back up, and this is really annoying. I have set mine to 2 minutes. You could either set it to 1 minute or maybe 3 minutes depending on your choice, and this is something that you need to do right now. The other option that I would like you to change is if you go into always on display, you can turn show wallpaper off. If this feature is on and you lock your phone, it dims the screen down but it's still got color over here, so this will definitely drain your battery more. Turn this option off. When you lock your phone, it'll just be a black screen with your time and widgets that you've enabled. So if you want to save that battery life, I suggest you turn this feature off. Another great way to save battery life when it comes to display settings is by enabling this automatic feature. By default, it will be off. You can turn it on. And I have set it to sunrise and sunset. So what this does is that it changes your phone's display to dark mode when the sun sets, and in the morning it's back to light. Enabling this option is also great for your eyes as it does not strain them, and I suggest that you turn this feature on. Now let's talk about control center. So let's go into settings, come down to control center. And by default, a very few options will be selected over here like flashlight, timer, calculator, etc. But you can add different toggles for your control center from here. And like, for example, I set dark mode, magnifier, and you can even set screen recording. So you can record your screen very quickly by going to control center and you'll see all the new additions over here. The other thing that I would like to mention about control center is related to privacy. If I lock my phone, people will still be able to get into my control center. And what this allows the unidentified user to do is that they can turn your phone into airplane or switch off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. And it makes it easier for your phone to get stolen. So I strongly recommend that you disable that feature, and let me show how to do it. So go into settings, come down to Face ID and passcode. And if you scroll right down, you'll see over here control center. Turn that toggle off. Now that your phone is locked, you'll see that we won't be able to open control center without unlocking it with Face ID. So this is a great security feature to enable, and I strongly suggest that you enable it. Now coming to the final setting that I would like to talk about is 5G. 5G on the iPhone 15 Pro Max has been greatly improved, but there are certain settings that you need to change which will give you better battery life. So let's look at that. Go into settings, come to mobile service and select your SIM, and now go into voice and data. And over here you will see that it says 5G auto, 5G on, 4G. Make sure that it's set to auto and not 5G on, because if you do set it to 5G on, your phone will continuously look for 5G network, and 5G is not widely available across the country. So this will definitely drain your battery much more. Also, if you have a Geo SIM, let me go into my Geo SIM and go into voice and data. You will see there's another option over here which says voice over 5G standalone. If you enable this and you're on a call and your 5G network goes away, it will disconnect the call. So make sure that this option is off, otherwise you will have a lot of dropped calls. So guys, these settings are what I've changed on my iPhone, and I suggest you do the same so that you get the best performance out of your device. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and also subscribe. It helps with the algorithm and I'll be very grateful for that. See you in the next one.